Hello again. Well, I'm not going to say anything about the episode. That's for 11 o'clock tonight on Who Night. But obviously, in this tea time slot, you may have noticed I haven't given my account of this yet. Doctor Who in 2027 to be continued is the question. And it is a question. Now, I'm going to get straight to it, folks, because the truth is there's always a lot of talk, a lot of rumour. It gets very tribal with Doctor Who. People jump on one side, people jump on the other. And I'm going to apply some logic here. So, looks like good news, if that's what you want. But let's go straight to it. I'm going to be critical with my thoughts here and sources and all the rest of it. So, apparently, with the Mirror article, Doctor Who set to continue in 2027, even if Disney's funding is withdrawn. Right, okay, let's analyze this. And remember, skin in the game. You know, I did do a show called Doctor Who Axed ? And we looked at the Sun article then. So quite rightly, I should look at the Mirror article now. Otherwise, people, you know what they're like. Brendan, you're only picking on one side. No. I'm going to apply logic. So apparently the Mirror says Doctor Who's next two series are already written despite Disney funding cuts. Right, let's do the comparison. Let's take a look. So I'll just hide myself for a moment. Right, if we do honestly take a look at this. So in a nutshell, the Mirror article says that the deal with Disney was worth 100 million. That seems to coincide exactly with what the Sun said a few months ago. So that's a nice one. The next issue is RTD has planned two series more. That's that in whichever language we use, season 3 and season 4, and scripts are almost complete. The 10 million an episode spent on technical upgrading for Disney. If Disney boo back out, hurrah, we can save money. Apparently, the TARDIS set is still standing. There will be an expected gap until 2027. The BBC are fairly happy with the average of 4 million for 28-day consolidated viewing figures. That's apparently what they say. And RTD says the future is bright. Now, let's just look at one or two of these in the round, because one, apart from the 100 million that seems to agree, the other thing that is agreed is there is definitely a pause, a hiatus, whatever you want to call it. There will be no Doctor Who next year. Whether they decide to put the spin-off next year is by the by. But basically, he did promise us there would be Doctor Who every year. So something has changed. Let's just park that. Something has changed from the original ambition. Point one. Point two. In this gap, they haven't made clear, and I will show you the article, don't worry. They don't say too much about Ncuti. They say that RTD has written scripts. They don't say whether RTD is staying. And this is the other interesting thing here. And if you just apply the same logic to the Sun article from a couple of months ago, I had quotes there. Crew were angry at being left in limbo. So, of course, that would link to the pause idea. There were quotes saying the BBC was shelving the series for at least 5 years and were told it could be up to 10. So the Mirror says we're back in the running in 2027. The Sun said 5 to 10 years gap at least. So there's a big discrepancy there. Both agree on a gap. Also, though, in the Mirror, in the Sun article, those responsible go and get other well-paid projects while we're all scrambling for work. Quote directly from a member of the staff that the regeneration exit scene for Ncuti had been believed to be filmed. There was also a quote saying Ncuti just didn't want to be tied to the series any longer. Maybe it was getting a bit toxic and he wants to be in LA. And there was also another quote, people warned of too much agenda in Doctor Who and they were shouted down and ignored. Those were quotes directly attributed to staff by the Sun. You then go back to the Mirror article. BBC are generally happy with the viewing figures. RTD's quote that the future's bright. This is all very generalized. The TARDIS set is still standing. That doesn't mean that what you've seen from the Sun article is incorrect. Okay, that they could save money from not having Disney and that 2 more series have been planned. Okay. Can I just say one thing at this point? And I think somebody might say it, Anthony Parkinson was saying it. The BBC in February could have killed that Sun article by confirming either way that there was a series or not. Equally, the Mirror's article, the BBC, to protect its brand, to stop people pouring away at it, all these streamers, fans, the media scrutiny, slagging off the programme, praising the programme, asking why it might not be on. That could be put to dead by just a confirmation. Now, what would stop the BBC from just doing a simple confirmation if it was true? I mean, let's just deal with it. Could it be that it's because they need to get their ducks in a row? That maybe the showrunner's not necessarily in place and they need to sort that out? That they need to undertake a review of how these 2 seasons have gone? I mean, even Disney said they'd only decide afterwards. That the lead actors in question, so if Ncuti's left and they haven't replaced him, I know all the rumours, but basically, is that part of the issue? That because they know the media's saying, oh, it's either axed or it's confirmed coming back, they could confirm either way, but they want to confirm with the fact that we've now got a new showrunner, if that's the case, or RTD staying on, or Ncuti is replaced by. I think that's what they're trying to do, is get their ducks in a row if that is the case. Okay, so it could be a question mark about showrunner, lead actor, budgetary review. It is the BBC after all, and they're just trying to work out how they can do this, whether it would be a 3 or 4 episode season or something like that. So those are the kind of facts there. And RTD did say this, and this is in June 2024, nearly a year ago. I'm working on the 4th script now for season 3. It's not actually commissioned. That's still up in the air. But that's the same for every TV program. I shouldn't say we're confident, because that's asking for a fall, but we're very confident, to be honest, and we'll just keep going. I can't stop. That's the problem. Now, there's 2 things there, aren't there? He's just going to plan for every eventuality and just keep going. Don't wait for a decision from some executives, because if you do that, there might be a gap in the fact that there's no scripts ready. At least if the script's ready, if people give you the green light, you can get on with it a bit faster. So that's maybe common sense. And he has been saying this for a year. He did sound very confident there, didn't he? But then you wonder why there was that Newsround article when he talked about pauses and pauses and pauses. So something has gone wrong in this kind of scenario. Now, if I moved on to the actual article that the Mirror said, I mean, there isn't much in it. There isn't much in it. I'm not going to say hallelujah, and I'm not going to kind of put a cup of cold sick on it either. Just like with the Sun article, we just apply our logic. So rumours have been swirling that the plug will be pulled, blah, blah, blah. So they're just giving context. But sources on the sci-fi series claim that the showrunner has already planned the next 2 seasons. Right. Let's just say that again. He said that a year ago. That's not new information. In the Imagine documentary with Alan Yentob, one of my first ever review programs in November 2023, RTD said that while he was working that morning, he could see the finale for the end of season 3 then. So I'm sorry, this is not new news. This is pretty old news. I'm not a journalist. This is not new. Okay, let's go a little bit further. It's also claimed that if Disney departs, it might not be such a big impact because they'll save 10 million per episode, because they're not trying to make the episode into 4K anymore, and various other technical upgradings of the SFX. Okay, well, I'm all for saving money. I can see in some of the plot lines, for example, that scene in Lagos, that whole marketplace was not necessary to the narrative. Think about it, it wasn't. It built a world. It was really just to show the Ncuti doctor looking as though he really loved being there. But that wasn't relevant to the narrative, and that was so expensive. So I can see how you could save money anyway, never mind whether budget Disney or not. The BBC broadcasts its that's a bit we've said. One source claimed that the reason the show, which first aired in 1963, has a huge and loyal global audience is unrelated to the cash injection. Right, okay, so we're not worried, is the story. Remember, it's not even attributing a source. It's not even giving us a quote. This bit does a bit more. When Doctor Who was in partnership with Disney, there was an additional funding put in place. Doctor Who was an expensive show to make, blah, blah, blah. The TARDIS set is still standing in Cardiff, all ready to go for new adventures. There's nothing really new there. I still have my question about, well, when they did that one of those trailers, it was a drape photograph of the TARDIS. And if the TARDIS set was there, use that. However, when the EU Commission had sent their representatives recently, they walked around the TARDIS set. So it's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those where you think, well, what's going on here? And why did Bad Wolf do that advert for all that warehouse space that was suddenly available? Now, it's long been known, this source says, that there will be a lengthy hiatus. Remember, the Sun said 5 to 10 years, and it'll come after this month. The Mirror reported last October that this would only be for 2 years, up to 2027. And the insider says whether or not Disney stays, the expectation is that the show will continue. Yes, there'll be a gap while the scripts are finalised, the episodes are filmed, and the editing process takes place. But we'll be back. The wait won't be forever, just a big pause. Now, that would make more sense to what RTD said on CBBC on Newsround, when twice he mentioned pauses. So that bit works. RTD's quotes from a year ago about already planning ahead. Well, yeah, like I said, no news there. Disney said that their decision will come after season 2 has aired. Yes, we know that one. Overnight ratings are lower than last year's, but the Doctor Who brand remains one of the most popular on BBC iPlayer. And this is what I mean. The series looks set for an average audience of over 4 million once the 28-day ratings are released, and the BBC is happy with that. Okay, so I'll just get this article out of the way and then we'll have a quick chat. Russell's already said in the Doctor Who magazine, 3 of the scripts are sitting there with 3 different writers. 1 script already is on draft 6. I'm very confident that Doctor Who's forever and the future's bright. There won't probably be a festive special, but, you know, we've got the spin-off coming. All right? So basically, in essence, that's what the basis of this whole article from the Mirror was. And that's why you've seen the celebrations from various streamers and various fans saying, well, there you go. I'm not... Yeah, what have we learned? We've learned that if people did their due diligence 2 years ago, RTD was writing scripts for season 3 and season 4. 2 years ago, he said that. Hello, I said that myself 2 years ago from the November. I mean, honestly, these people are really clutching at straws. So when you look fundamentally at what has been said that's apparently so new, I mean, there's a lot of blather about cost of episodes. I'm sorry, our time was gaslighting. You distracted me from the main headline. The main headline is the BBC has not confirmed anything. Neither have they said the show is not on. The BBC have just not said anything. And I think the big news is, why don't the BBC want to put this to bed so easily? If it's such a powerful franchise, don't kill the reputation by having us all kind of chewing the cud of every stupid quotation from people and, you know, checking their body language on programs. Just tell us either way and we'll get over it. So remember, in essence, the Mirror article, which people are kind of dancing around in joy, they're like the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. Basically, we learned the cost of the Disney deal. We learned the cost of the upgrading. We learned that the TARDIS set might still be standing. Well, we saw that with the European Commission visiting. We learned that we already knew there would be a gap. They've given a figure of maybe 2027. We've learned that maybe RTD is very happy about the future. Not necessarily with him, by the way. That the BBC is happy with 4 million consolidated figures. And we learned that there were more scripts made. But like I said, I knew that 2 years ago. So really, does that poo-poo the original article that says Doctor Who is axed? Now, you could say there's more hyperbole in the Sun article with the word axed. But I don't think it poo-poos too much. I don't think it confirms too much. I actually don't think it moves us too far on. And that's when some people say, was that article dropped very quickly to try and distract us from why Ncuti Gatwa suddenly wasn't doing the Eurovision? And, you know, you try and distract us. Dead cat over there. Bang, bang, bang. Was it for that reason? Because there is no news in that article. And there was actually more quotation in the other one about disgruntled workers, people unhappy about, you know, the well-paid people who made all the big decisions have suddenly cleared off to other projects. That Ncuti had filmed an exit scene. So what do we apply from this before I just quickly talk to the thread? I think Ncuti clearly looks as though he is going. It doesn't confirm RTD. It just says he's written scripts for the future. Now, whether the BBC say they want them, whether the BBC says, thank you for the outline, can you oversee it in a different role? Or whether the BBC go, well, you've written them, that means nothing to us. We want somebody else in and they've got different plans. I've always said, and you know, I've been saying it for weeks, there needs to be a review of the season. There needs to be a proper discussion and rethink and possibly course correction. But I don't think there's much in that article. So it's great to see everybody at tea time. You're clearly not watching the FA Cup, are you? So hello, Julia Goodwin. This City is Ours and Bookish have both been renewed before the first series are finished. White Lotus, season 4, is it 5? They've confirmed now. Gladiators next season's been confirmed. You know, I am wondering about this one. Whether we're just, there's silly games going on here. Easton Burkholder, nothing you do makes it watchable if it is not the doctor. If the doctor dodges all blame, all moral responsibility in every situation, lecturing, nagging, blah, blah, blah. You see, this is it. This is when we come into actually the content of the program, which does need, I think, reviewing. It still doesn't take us either way, whether it's axed forever. Although I don't think any newspaper article can prove that, because you don't know what's going to be in any future media executive's head. What we can say is the BBC are sitting on their hands and are refusing to say anything when it would be so easy. I bet RTD is desperate to say we've got the green light. It's interesting, isn't it? And as Tomboy Chick says, the silence speaks volumes. They were quick to announce Gladiators and Michael McIntyre. Yes, that was the other one I forgot about. Yes. So see, you see, I'm learning. I don't care about the huge TARDIS set. The huge set I care about belongs. Now, so see, you're getting naughty again. Naughty step. Garbage. Anthony, the 10 million an episode is a disgrace. Somebody needs to demand receipts. Garbage. My example was Lagos. That, I mean, I'm not knocking the supporting artists a day's work. I'm not knocking the set designers. I'm not knocking it. What I am knocking is the decision from an executive producer. And how many executive producers do they have now? Post-cutting. Why was it necessary to be in the script? Why did they have to make that day? Because remember, the 15th Doctor had his scrappy repair kit Vindicator. Yeah, stuck it down there like an aerial. When they did London in 2007, we're in some dodgy back alley that obviously stunk of SHIT, didn't we? Because the face on Ncuti, yeah. So we don't need any elaborate set. Did you see Petticoat Market? Did they take us around? You know, all those. Nah. What we got is some dodgy back alley and some CGI effect with some Millennium Wheel fireworks. All the money went on that Lagos, because remember, that was a really cheap episode, really, otherwise, apart from the spider thing. I can see where they would easily save money, easily. So, as I say, I watch the streamers and the fans and the Twitterati saying, oh, isn't this amazing news about the Doctor Who season's been confirmed? Is it? Is it confirming anything? It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Wow, that shuts you all up. That silences you all. Right, okay then, let's look at the article. And as I said, those are the facts there. And the facts are, it costs money. Thank you for that. Do you know what? I'm amazed. It costs money. And did you know the TARDIS set is still standing? Right, it might take a long time to take down, maybe. Yeah, okay. That the BBC are happy with the figures, blah, blah, blah. And there is going to be a gap. The only thing confirmed they're new is maybe the date of 2027. And as I said to you, please, even if you don't watch my early stream with Hugh, when we looked at it was the Imagine documentary, an interview with RTD, Doctor Who and Me, he called it. He says then about way beyond the next 2 seasons that he was writing scripts. And I'm even acknowledging it myself because I used it. There it is. He's been saying this a while. He said it a year ago. I'm working on the 4th script now for season 3. So this is not new news. No reason to jump around going all ecstatic. I don't think we've moved any further along from yesterday, apart from the Sun article said 5 to 10 years gap, and now they're saying maybe 2027. So whether BBC's starting to get their act together a little bit more and are a little bit more optimistic that they can afford Doctor Who, I think that's the only thing I've possibly learned there. So I don't think we have to be worried about people telling us we're wrong or we're right. I don't think we've learned anything. Anything. So apparently I've got a show later tonight. Who night. I've got loads going on. I mean, look at this one. Yes, Saturday 11 p.m. tonight, we will be giving our first impressions and raw reactions. Obviously, tomorrow night we give our full scores. We'll have the ratings as well, and maybe the 5-minute breakdowns, and so we'll have a lot more details then. So please tune in later tonight. We also have our ratings show tomorrow at midday, when we'll go over that. And so there's plenty to talk about. And I better get preparing there. So, as Neville says, a lot of sound and fury signifying nothing. I don't think we've moved on too far. This is a Doctor Who short. If you wanted me to do a 2-hour show on something that I am really claiming is not new news, I respect everybody for tuning in, and I did call it a Doctor Who short. But I think we still have to wait for the BBC to confirm. And yes, I'm not going to say a word about the Interstellar Song Contest. I've seen it once. I need to prepare, and I'll give you my feedback later on. But thanks for joining us, and we will see you later. Stick with us. We'll always look at the truth. Bye for now.